What is up, y'all? It's your boy Yaniki. We are live today with that Kagurabachi stream. Sorry, I'm a little late. Been handling business. Let me go ahead and get this in the Discord. We get underway. Let me hook him up real quick. Let me hook him up real quick. And then boom. I'm positive that this will be another certified hood classic. Because every Bocce chapter in this war arc has been a certified hood classic. Every single one. We haven't missed. In fact, we haven't missed on a chapter. We have not missed. I want to say in years. I don't know if we've missed, period, with this series, actually, if I'm being honest. Can you tell me the last bad Bocce chapter? If somebody's watching this, if you're watching the VOD, leave a comment. Tell me the last chapter that was actually bad in Kagurabachi to you. Because I can't think of one right now. Off the top of my head, it don't exist. None exists. Yeah, let's get to it. Let's get it. Especially because, look, check this out. Seitei War. This is the best kind. I don't need this shit. Of beach episode right here. What we got started. Boom. The Irishima Talks Part 2. Picking up right where we left off. With Shiba saying, "Go home, please." Small request, big consequences incoming. Let's go. Let's see. The four guys next to the old man are probably warriors, but Shiba and I should be able to handle that level of fighter. Bruh. Cameron Bailey. If nobody got me, Cameron Bailey got me. Ah! And what up, Joseph Shola? Glad to have you on here live. I think when the war arc ends, I'm gonna have one of the bigger streams like back in the church days. See if we can get a good amount of people on air. Have a big old group discussion. Maybe have some of the guys that are more commonly in the chat, some of the newer ones here too. Maybe get somebody like Blob on, since they do the Kagurabachi fan dub project. It'd be fun, get their perspective on it as well. I'll leave when my business is done. What up, Tiger Blaster? This guy is more dangerous than the other four together. We can't allow him to move around freely. Okay. Okay, I'll bite. That business isn't actually talking, is it? I have so many questions, but let's start with that. Okay, we're getting that little flashback to the little scroll with the Mikaboshi. Mikaboshi. Then I'll cut to the chase. If you want to understand our motive, just look to history. Hey, don't move too much or the gentleman here will cut you. Alright. They both look like the dude with the mustache is probably going to be the first to go. I thought Masamichi was going to be the first one to go, but Mustachio guy, he's too hypey, and it just makes sense for him to either be the first one to get popped or the first one to get, even if he doesn't get murked, first person to get injured. We are the Mikaboshi. Your ancestors chased us off. We hid in darkness for over 1,000 years ago. Chiba, Kanagawa, Tokyo. The lands I named are our price for that. Hey. Whoa. He goes to pull out a knife and gets them fingers chopped. What up, Blub? Okay, so we're about to see something because getting your fingers chopped off. And so one of the things that I'll say about Kagurabachi is that it is definitely a child of Bleach, in that because of the power system, losing limbs just isn't that big of a deal, but it still helps you like aura farm. Or I guess in this case, digits, because he just lost like multiple fingers. Next time, it'll be your throat. And this ore you call the Datansaki. 112.5. Oh, are you answering the what the last bad chapter was? uh we pray to it. It protects us. We coexist with it. It is our God. Hold up. Let me see these speed lines. Hey, what up, anime all day? Hold up. Okay. Looks like we're running business. I would show more of the panels, but the last time I let too much of the panel show on stream, I got copyright struck, and I'm still I gotta wait like another 40 days before that's off my channel. So RIP showing panels. Hey, what up, quote? Hey, I see you back. Okay, we got some people coming back. I like that. It is our God, and they're all right. We're getting into. Ooh wee. Okay, so they actually cut the man neck. And then we got the blind bandits moving in. Hold up. Okay, and the mustachioed man is being separated from the rest of the pack. That's dangerous. Oh. And here comes the fall damage king. Sheba took him up. Okay, man, we going straight into this action. But the mustachio bandito doesn't seem worried. Okay, one of them's knocked into the water, one's in the forest, one's getting dropped on the ocean. So on one hand, I got a lot of dead subscribers, but like having over 1,000 people following me on YouTube already makes it switching over to Twitch where I don't have that. So, shaky. You know what I mean? But because I don't even know if my subscribers are actually dead or if they're just not getting like pushed my content anymore, or like when I make stuff because I wasn't uploading as much. Which is why when I didn't have this job, I was doing more daily shorts uploads and stuff. Hey, what up, DT man? See, I know you've been a long time viewer. Yeah, but it's not a bad idea. I thought about doing some game streams on Twitch just to build audience, and then seeing which platform is better for sustainable content, because I can always upload VODs here and do lives on Twitch. So we'll see. We'll see which one I go with. Hey, because I can always also just run 2 instances of OBS technically, and then have one of them have like a slightly different layout. But we'll see. Because you can also do music on Twitch. Hey, what up, Bonzu? Hey, what the? Okay, that was a bit over the top. All right, so look, we got the dude who kind of looked like he was going to be a prince. Looks like he's actually possibly going to be dead here. One more masked guy coming in. See, this one is. But they took out multiple people, or at least removed multiple people from being within the area of the ambassador, so. I thought those guys weren't so tough, but they sent the Soga and the other guy flying. And what's with that black cloud? Hey, man. You writing, you grinding. Hope school went well, too. Oh, wait. And then, okay. Mashiro. Looking kind of clean. Hold up. Okay, so he's got basically like an air lens right now. Mashiro's sorcery, Aku, creates pressure in a specified place and a specified direction. Kera. Ooh. Alright, bro. Soga, yeah, nah, bro. Soga's definitely got to be a Maki. He's either a Makisoba or he chose to theme all of his attacks around insects as a form of mockery for his enemy. He pierced it. That's sorcery. It looked like a bee. And then we see, so he's trying to drop a pressure field on him. All right. Inhuman strength and speed. Man, when you pulling out the blade, though, don't tell me Kunishige gave you a sword and you too scared to draw it now. All right. And then we see one of those bee stings slash his legs. Mashiro's about to get his eyes eaten. Let's see. Oh. And then we see the bee aimed right at his face. Hold on. It protects us. He's like, yeah, Datansaki. Don't tell me he's using the power of the Datansaki. They can wield its power that surpasses what the human body can contain. There's no way we can win with normal attacks. The Datansaki is an object of worship for the Mikaboshi. Kunishige forged the most lethal blade with the Mikaboshi insignia for the Suba and called it curved sin. Just straight up taking the... Yeah, bro, like, they are... It's hard... See, okay. So, on one hand... Which, actually, you know what? I'm going to say this right now. Because we're talking about the way that they, like, decided to pervert their culture here. Interestingly enough... This stays on my branding of like Kagurabachi feeling very like Bleach's child here. During the 1,000-Year Blood War, there's a discussion that centers around like, okay, well, this is a war, then like who's justified? And somebody goes like, well, that's the thing about in war, both sides are evil. The fact that they pulled up with hostile intent, killed multiple people, and demanded multiple territories, basically said, nah, we're going to kill people, do whatever we want to do. Y'all need to just give us what we want. Fuck you. Makes the Mikaboshi bad, right? But when you understand that like they were exiled when they were doing, you know, all this other stuff. And then on top of that, we're just taking their religious beliefs and just like taking the piss out of them. You get that perfect embodiment of how like if you are capable of going to war with each other, you both have to be kind of shitty people. It is, and I'm glad that we're moving a bit further away from the war of like the concepts in like literature where people kind of protect one side. Very clear that they're like Hakuzano understands the complexity of war and combat because it's never just like one totally reasonable person because of the scale of war, right? Like it's totally possible for you, an individual, to like be walking down the street and some dude show up on drugs and punch you in the face and you're like, what the fuck? I gotta fight this guy. And you're like, all right, let me fight this guy. Yeah. And like actually just be an innocent dude that's like fighting a dude that attacked you. It is not possible. It is not possible for hundreds of thousands of people on two different sides to do things with purely innocent intentions or reactions. Okay. Scale always changes things. Yeah. Don't tell me he's using the power. Blah, blah, blah. And then, but a successful decapitation by Mashiro. And you see he's got like all these pressurized zones. So the way he uses his sword is like a floating blade, which that's always a cool fighting style. So shooting it as a missile to chop his head off, sick. Also him like losing, like the other guy just straight up losing track of the sword is wild. Rookie mistake if we're being honest. Then again, I do have this. I had it hidden in the sand clouds. Shokoku. How many people live there? Are they all hostile like these guys? If that place is crawling with guys like this, and then we see him come out the ocean, no more ocean stuff. It stings the wounds. Yikes, you beat that dude in the water? Is Sheba dead? Also, I think it's worth noting that the skinnier Soga without the mustache is the one who's coming back carrying a corpse on the sword. Again, reminded me of Kenpachi Zaraki here. Obviously, like this isn't a rare thing. It's just this chapter has made me think about Bleach a lot. Is Sheba dead? And we know Sheba's not going to be dead. Nope. Sorry. And then just nicks and scratches. These guys are total beast. I got a lot of broken bones now. And we see Sheba looking towards the old man. Oh boy. Kirishima Conference testimony. So, what happened next? All right, bro. So, you see the way that this guy's throat just ruptured? You know what? Hold on. I got to pull up the first chapter again. I got to pull up the first two chapters again, real quick. I got to pull up the first two chapters. Got to pull up the first two chapters. And maybe y'all already know what I'm about to look for. Maybe you don't. But I need to see something. I need to see. Let me see something real quick. Let me see something sexy. Let's see. Trees. I want to verify. I'm confirming because. Okay, yep, that's what I had to confirm. So the reason why I was curious about this is because I wanted to see if Hatshaku, because if Hatshaku shows up here, right? Because the spurting, the way like it all comes out, it reminded me a lot of how, like when the guy killed the person who was about to talk, the tree just started sprouting out of his body and just started exploding and just blah, big nasty mess, right? But so like if that guy had planted the tree sorcery in him, then it would have made sense that like after he was wounded, the tree started sprouting, and it's gonna, especially because we have a tree with a similar aesthetic. So what I was confirming is that that guy like Hatshaku left the scene before Shiba and Chihiro got there, which he did. He teleported out of there, and then their raid starts. Because obviously, if Shiba would have seen Hatshaku here, if Hatshaku's about to appear, Shiba would have seen him here. So that would have meant that during chapter 1, he would have been able to recognize him. So the whole reason we might be having Hatshaku constantly off screen is to stop Shiba from there, like recognizing him, right? To preserve that secret within the narrative, not for like from them, but from the audience. Which means I now need to go look at the Rakazuchi real quick. And let me see some. What you mean blank? Cut that out. Quit playing with me, dog. All right, hold on. Let's make it look sexy, bro. Let's make it look sexy. Because I gotta confirm this now. I gotta see what we're cooking here. Are we cooking in Spanish? Are we cooking in Japanese? What we cooking with? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Because I don't think, I'm not even sure Chihiro saw him. I know the trees popped up. Just the trees, right? Like there was like a wall that looked like his magic, if I remember right. But I don't think Shiba would have even seen that. Because I remember when Chihiro gets walled off, it's by a tree sorcery. And he has to break his way through that. Let's see. If he doesn't appear at all, that makes it even more likely. Let's see. It's crazy because like I didn't realize that we got an arc as good as the Rakazuchi um before even chapter 50. That is actually insane. Because that arc is actually so fucking good. And usually you have to wait a bit before you get something like that juicy. But getting that pre chapter 50 is nuts. Yeah. Yeah, it's chapter 31 when we finally see Yura and he's like, yep. So so he does appear in a flashback. So Hachaku was there to kill Kunishige, but that's oh man. The 12-second fight is good, and like the first arc is good. Like it's crazy good first arc. Very strong first arc. But like a lot of series like that first arc is like, yeah, we got you hooked, and then like the second or third arc sometimes it's like, oh, okay, we're kind of cool. But this was just like this series is actually just phenomenally consistent. Like there's no significant dips. All the dips are pacing changes, right? Like we have to have like a bit of cooldown to deal with consequences and then get right back to it. Yeah, like I actually got one of my buddies reading it. He messaged me and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading Kagurabachi now. Cause I've been trying to catch up on your videos and stuff." Yeah. So yeah, Yura just uses Kyora is just a really good character too. Because so the thing I think about Kyora that I think makes him just so phenomenal is kind of the fact that yes, he's a piece of shit in the sense that he's participating in all these like underground dealings, all these dark arts. He's like bad to his like treats Hakuri wrong. But but Kyora truly cared for like his family. He cared about maintaining the legacy of his bloodline. Like he does have a code. He is like a genuinely good example of the morality archetype of lawful evil. Like just because he's evil doesn't mean he doesn't have a code. Doesn't mean he doesn't have integrity. It just means his morality is different and the rules he lives by are different. And that's the thing too, right? Is like you spend your entire childhood being molded to be something and you have a purpose foisted upon you. And that's kind of the beauty, right? Is that Kyora dies and acknowledges the value of Hakuri. But what's more is that he refuses, unlike Yura, he rejects the notion of allowing the sword master to take over his body. Because for him, it wasn't about power, it wasn't about vengeance, it was about maintaining what he had and what his family fought for. It wasn't actually about him. And like to the extent that he's like, if I let the sword master take control, right? If I give up my body, if I lose to this, I'm giving up the legacy of my family. I'm giving up everything everybody's fought for. Like genuinely operating just within the spectrum. And those kinds of characters are really fun. I think they're really fun and they're usually the best. It's the same reason I like Askeladd from Vinland Saga, right? Like I've read the first like 100 chapters of Vinland Saga or so, and watched the first season. Uh, I love Askeladd because he does some grimy stuff, but he's also kind enough to make sure families don't starve in the winter, and I think that's important to notate. Um, but this last page in today's chapter confirms for me Mashiro's dying here, bros. I need you to embrace that, pack it up, salute our boy, know that he's getting put in the blender. The fact that like the fact that that sword can cut people while sitting in a sheath, it's such a simple concept, and it's like, is that really that cool? And it's like, yes, actually, yes, the fuck it is. Just like the idea of like blunt blades cutting, all that. Yes, it's actually cool. Like it's so powerful that even when it's like closed to stop it from cutting people, it cuts people. You might not be able to do everything else, but you can still cut a nigga's hands off while it's in the sheath. That is power. I don't even know how to hold back. It's an evil version of the constantly holding back trap. Go back and check the chapter 114 cover page. All right, let's do it. Oh yeah. He had the little. He was using his sorcery there to draw it. See, that's the kind of stuff I like. Consistency, little art details. No pages wasted. No pages wasted. Which the thing that's like a downside though is that I would have loved. Oh, you think he's getting the muffin cap peeled off? Not even. I mean, he's gonna die a traumatic death because. I mean, let's be real here. You look at Sheba, seeing his boy get his head chopped off. Yeah, yeah. It's over, bro. It's over, man. Mashiro, we hardly knew you, but Sheba did, and he's gonna cry for you, bro. Yeah, like these small video clips, like also Sheba is damaged up. Mashiro already has said that he has multiple broken bones too, so he's not even lasting that long in this battle. So that also means that Sheba's gonna have to fight with the mental nerve of his boy having gotten his melon blasted off. Insane. Genuine tragedy for these dudes, especially because they're only like 17. So regardless of the shit they're used to being involved with, regardless of all that, this is a rough situation to be in. Actually, yeah, I'm looking at that and like it could just be a random thread. Hold on, let me see what it looks like. But okay, oh, perfect. If you guys look, you can actually see a little bit of the panel that I'm trying not to show all of, but the thing that I want to emphasize bursting out of him, like I'm not saying that is the tree roots, but it very well could be because it could just be like his clothing or something like that. But that's an odd choice. So I'm pretty sure we're about to get confirmation that Hachaku was here. Bro, Kunishiga said, since you like Dotsun Saki so much, like normally it's like, oh, you like Dotsun Saki? You like this? Well, why don't you marry it? Ha 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 ha. Kunishiga said, how about you die by that shit, nigga? How about it kills you? How about it be the last thing you see? How about it be the last thing that influences your life? You want to pray to Dotsun Saki? Pray to this sword. This will be the arbiter of your death. Your existence will be erased. You will know nothing. The future will not tell stories of your bloodline except for to say they were the enemies that we squished under our heels. You, your people, your way of life, the very idea of you shall be erased from history's text. Instead, all that will be known is our glory for defeating you. Your legacy is but a sand on the beach of our greatness. All because you killed my friend, who would occasionally bring me chicken nuggets. So yeah, Kunishige is about to crash out, and he's handing that to Soga. Let me double check something. Let me double check something. Like exactly, bro. Sending them to like you worship this so much. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure you spend time with it for the rest of your miserable existence. The the God you've loved and the God you've craved shall be the God that ends you, bro. Bro. I will personally assure you that the book of Revelation it comes true for you. Like this is woo. Let me see something real quick. Cause I wanna double check. 115. Is it 116 or yeah, 116 is where we get a little bit of Chiaki. We get Azami, Kunishiga, Shiba, and Chiaki. But since Chiaki knew them, there's a chance that, like, obviously we only get Azami Chihiro or Azami Kunishige, Chiaki, and Shiba here, but I mean, looking back at 116, there's actually a chance that there's no reason why they wouldn't have met Soga's Chiaki's brother by this point. And if they met Mashiro, then Soga becoming a crash out is like, okay, so you killed one of my childhood friends. You killed, my sister, because remember we saw baby Chihiro with an arm like on the ground next to him. Yeah, nah, bro. This war, like, it starts off as something simple, right? We're just trying to mine some ore, learn something about this new thing, and all of a sudden you got niggas talking to you about, hey yo, so 1,000 years ago, some niggas you don't know did some shit to some people we ain't ever met. So I'm gonna kill a lot of people you care about. Doesn't matter you don't know them. It doesn't matter that you don't know me. I'm taking your land. I'm taking your liberty. I'm taking your life. That is what the Mikaboshi is basically saying here. That is what they are putting these kids through. And so, of course, Queen Ishiki says, I'm going to figure out how to use what you love. Love is one of the greatest things in the world. Y'all love Datansaki. And it's going to love you too. It's going to love you deep. It's going to go the deepest it's ever gone in anyone. Right in you. And that'll be the last thing you experience. And see, when you take their childhood, you take all the good from their life, all that you leave is that hollowed out darkness, that anger, and that talent. The talent that we're seeing fostered here, that we've been seeing in this flashback, the talent to create that which kills and the talent to kill. The greatest weaponsmith with one of the greatest swordsmen combined. You're cooked, buddy. See, you don't just go around picking fights. You always got to know more about your enemy, right? And it's clear that they didn't understand, the differences. They just held on to this grudge. Maybe even the Datsensaki slowed their aging process. Maybe that's what's going on here. Because, 1,000 years is a long time to sit there coping and seething. I get it. Some bad shit happened, bro. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that wasn't bad. But you're signing up, especially because, they do nice things like make breast massage machines into ships with Datsensaki. The beautiful thing about the Mikaboshi is they were able to form a religion around Datsensaki because it didn't have to be a resource. It got to be something that like protected them while they were wounded. That's not what Japan's been doing. Japan, they've been living in a world where all the rest of the countries are still active, still exist, could still seek to oppose them. Mikaboshi was isolated. They don't know that the first thing you do when you get new ore, new resources, new anything, is you find out, can this kill me? And if it can kill me, how do I make it better at killing my enemies? And that's going to be the real decider here, is because they are used to the Datsensaki. That's their homie. Oh yeah, it's like if you grew up in an area with a bunch of dogs, and then somebody was like, I'm gonna show you what it's like when dogs fight. And all of a sudden they show up with their dog that, they've been living there for about, 5 years. They bred a couple of them. Like, imagine someone has like pit bulls and they've been real nice to them, raising them real cute. And they still have the ability to, like lock their jaws and really get into you. And then somebody is like, my pit bull's a fighter though. I'm gonna train my pit bull to fight niggas. And they go like, and they show up and then your pit bull like, oh yeah, man, my pit bull is strong. He like, we play together, all this other stuff. And your pit bull's used to playing. And their pit bull is missing an ear because he's had that thing actually fighting things. It's kind of like that. Saki has been their friend for 1,000 years. Japan is going to push this way further because it's not a friend, it's a tool, it's a wrench, it's a gun, it's a bullet. And that's why they lose, like straight up. Even though you have the experience gap, you don't have the purpose gap. You showed up and like Sheba, man, like, man. And the thing is that by even one person living here, like you see, they got the Saki necklace on, they got all this other stuff. It shows with 100% certainty for them, yeah, we can make this into a weapon. We can use it. We just got to figure out the proper way to do this. Add on to that, you see, they got a Saki that they're going to be able to just pick up off these corpses. So Sheba's going to finish the job here. They're going to manage to kill some of these guys. They're going to be like, oh, the Saki's on his necklace, right? They're going to point that out. And then what's going to happen? They're going to grab some of these stones, get this back to Kunishige Rokihira, and he's going to get to work. Because the point of Mashiro having that sword is so that we know, even if we didn't see him in chapter 116 playing kickball or whatever with the other three, with Azami, with Chiaki, even though we didn't see him there, if you have been entrusted with a sword by Kunishige Rokihira personally, before he even made the enchanted blades, while he was starving, then you are very, very close to him. Like that's the reason why Mashiro is the only character we see with a Kunishige sword. It's so that we as the reader, even though we have not heard anybody talk about Mashiro this entire story, like Mashiro has not come up, right? We didn't have like maybe if we like really look, we might find a random reference to him in like a one-off line or something. So I won't say he's never come up. I don't remember Mashiro coming up at all. So maybe one of you guys knows there's a random lesson, but if we just go on the basis of that we've only had throwaway lines or him not being mentioned, then the whole point of giving him a Kunishige sword is so that everybody who is reading the series, when they see the phrase, oh, like I only give my swords to people who are worthy, understand how much care Kunishige actually has for Mashiro. That's the whole reason he's got this blade. The curtain is not just blue. It's not just for aura. It's so we know how much Mashiro actually means to these guys. Hell, we could get a volume, like when the volume comes out, we could even get that page in 116 edited to include Mashiro playing with them, just to really drive home that point. But Kunishige clearly very much rocks with this guy. Sheba just doesn't use swords. Sheba's just not a swordsman. That's it. Natsuki should have been in the streets playing kickball instead of training with the sword. I don't know what to tell him, bro. I mean, people think the eye patch Kaminabi might be Mashiro. That eye patch guy is the only other Kaminabi higher up who hid Kunishige that we haven't spent real time with. Look, if Mashiro's alive, cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I just don't think Sheba looks like this. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we get this Sheba, this depressed ass, sobbing ass Sheba, without Mashiro dying. Because, like, let's be real. These Soga cats, Sheba don't care about them. Sheba don't care about them. They don't matter to Sheba. That is, you know, those are coworkers, bro. Coworkers. And those are coworkers that are like 10, 15 years older than them. Like, I like we gotta see the thing that made Sheba go from yeah, let me go take this illegal ass material to my homie to basically because the thing is that I think the only reason why Chihiro is even allowed to do half the things he does, and he's been allowed to do that, is because Sheba is aware of the hypocrisy that he'd be operating under if he stopped him, right? Like if Sheba was spending all this time denying Chihiro the ability to get revenge, denying Chihiro the ability to fight when he chose, how he chose, I think that would not sit well in his spirit. I think he would consider that to be him being a massive hypocrite. But you see, he's always trying to protect him, and we know that Sheba like doesn't answer his phone, but he has a system. Call my phone, let it ring once, and I will be there. Not twice, not thrice, one ring. Why? That is the fastest. Like, think about that. You need my help, call me. One ring, hang up. Don't even wait for me to pick up. If I don't pick up within one ring, then you should just hang up, and then I know you need me, and I'm going to be there. That's the system of somebody who not only respects and values the people that he cares about, but that system is clearly in place to say, I do not want you wasting time hiding in a corner, hoping I show up. I need minimal time to be able to like see this, right? So one ring, even if I miss it, I get the little vibration, check my phone, boom. Oh, that was a less than 3 second call. I need to go. He's tired of being late to everything. He's tired of not being fast enough, tired of not being strong enough, however you want to look at it. Actually, like Sheba is becoming like through the amount of tragedy we're seeing, through the setup we're seeing. Oh, like he was an enjoyable character, but I think we can all agree we didn't have a lot of like real characterization. We had a lot of aura farming, him being a little goofy here and there, but we didn't get a lot of who Sheba is, and this is building up his psyche very well. Now, man, I'm sorry, like now, and you know, last week I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week. I was talking about this. You know, we were talking about this last week, right? All these guys are friends, and man, I'm glad that. Also, I was just looking at chapter 32 when Chihiro was fighting Yura, just because I had that pulled up when I was looking for the tree sorcery. Which I'm starting to question if Yura even has a base sorcery, because he may just be an athletic ass nigga who has spiritual energy manipulation, but doesn't have a sorcery. Because that's what it's starting to feel like. And that might be like why he's so like compatible with other people. Like he seems to channel the sorcery of Hatshaku. We see him doing he's willing to hand over his body to Soga. He did a pretty good job handling just in general the enchanted blade. He was using it like just the edge of its power, and I think that might be the caveat, is that Sheba might, or Yura might be somebody who doesn't have his own base sorcery, or rather like his sorcery is something more like vessel or channel, where it's more about taking in other people's sorcery and using that, which would also kind of fit his character, because so far everything about Yura has been about like, yes, he's got his own dreams, but every display of power, every time he's in combat, he's relying on somebody else's. And I think that also adds an interesting dynamic, like as far as characterization goes, because it shows that he's a person who's actually for the people. Like he is genuinely like he as evil as he is. It's another case of like a lawful evil character adhering to a specific set of rules, um, constantly, trying to represent other people. It's just whether or not you agree with his methods. Hey, I'm a themes and such merchant, so you know I'm a themes and such merchant, and I'm a write your characters in character, even if it leads to less cool things. So one of the things that I had said years ago on one of my Hero episodes, or My Hero streams, that I was reminded of, because tagged me in a post. You know what? Let me pull this up real quick because one of my buddies tagged me in this on Twitter, and this is a little off topic, of course, but I do want to show it because I was talking to my buddy, and he was like, "Oh, you said this. Like you said this years ago, verbatim." Let me see if I can find it because I got to get through this argument with a bunch of racist people. Let me see. Wow, so many idiots in my mentions. I gotta stop caving and addressing stupid people. It makes me so angry though. Hold up. Boom. Underscore. Oh well. Let's see. Let's go. But one of the things that he had talked about was how during the series, or specifically it was a post by Horikoshi, and he talked about how when he was writing the story, he was going to just do a final battle where he was going to have Deku just win, right? But what he realized is that that wasn't the character he wrote. Oh, I'm Aniki Smash FSP on Twitter. I use the same name on all platforms, whether it's Twitter, TikTok, even Twitch. I switched over to Aniki Smash FSP, so anybody could find me at any time. Plus, if you follow me, I can follow you back. So I'll know, especially if you follow me within 30, 40 seconds, I'll be like, oh yeah, there we go. There's block, boom. But Horikoshi said that the moment he decided Deku was going to see Tenko crying inside the vestiges, that made it virtually impossible for him and Shigaraki to have a conventional final battle. That made things harder for him because those fights are more fun to read. But since Deku was so convinced that this was the right way, Horikoshi himself felt motivated by it. After drawing the looked like you needed saving double spread, he thought to himself, okay, let's do this the hard way. And it's yeah, you can't write your character. You cannot write your character to be somebody that is high empathy, really focused on helping out, really focused on saving people, and then be but he's just going to splatter this guy, because that's not who he is anymore. And even if we, the reader, might be and that's why one of the coolest things you see in that fight is there's a part where Deku swings a punch and it vaporizes Shigaraki's arm. Straight up, you can see it turning into boom, just gone. I like when authors do that. I will always, always, always trade off an Aura Farm moment. And maybe it's because I'm older. I don't know. For a themes and such moment. I want to see your artistic vision go all the way through, even if it means sacrificing something cool. And I felt the same way about AOT, where a lot of people were oh, I thought Eren was going to do this. He was going to do that. And then Eren was no. It was no. Eren was always the thing that had Eren angry was that he was upset about the Titans hurting his family, taking his mother from him, all that. And even if you go, oh, but technically it was his fault, he needed certain things in place, which only made that worse, right, for him. He realized some of this stuff is my fault, but I need to put an end to this so that the people I love can live in peace. And even if you go, well, eventually war came back. War was always going to come back. The important part was that the people he cared about could live as long as possible. And so when your characters do things, even if they commit to doing atrocities or bad things, or they're on a trend that seems confusing and you're oh, this is who this person is now, the core of a person, fundamentally, there are certain things about you that won't change. There are things about you that will change as you get older and should change as you get older. But there are certain things about you that will not change. If you are a person who was very alone when you were younger, or you felt very isolated, and you were probably always going to value your connections with people, that you like truly experience. Like, your found family is always going to mean something to you, even if you don't talk to them for years. If you run into them, you're probably still going to be happy to see them. Just realistically, that is something that's going to not change in you. There are certain things that are going to be immutable because once you hit a certain point, it's like certain things just become locked. Like, this is who you are. The rest of this stuff is like extra layers. Your core pretty much stays the same. Like, that's why your formative years are so important. And so obviously you can do a lot to counteract it, especially if there are worse habits within there, but a large part of you is going to stay the same. Like, that, there's a small piece of you that's just going to be like, this is who I am. Like, if you like chicken nuggets, like your food taste, stuff like that, a lot of that, it expands, but certain things just don't go away. And so when characters are written to not betray themselves, even if it comes at the expense of a less entertaining fight, that is worth it. And so, like with Kunishige, even the idea of him creating a weapon of mass destruction that leads to this like a whole country getting wiped out, that capacity is a reflection of the fact that he was always interested in creating weapons. All that changed is the sense of scale. And notice, even though Kunishige felt awful about making the enchanted blades, he did not stop being a swordsmith. Right? Like, damn, my hobby went way left. I'm gonna just make sure that I like put these things away and that nobody has access to them. And then I'm going to make an enchanted blade to break these enchanted blades. We see young Soga very focused on being the best swordsman he can be, very determined to be strong, very determined to protect what he cares about, very determined to like fulfill his role as a guardian, and basically very obsessed with like being a samurai, if you think about it. For like 20 years later, when he's 40 years old, actually I think he might only be like 37 right now, but or maybe 39. I think he might be 39. Either way, he's, you know, late 30s, early 40s. He is still that same guy. What has changed is how the behavior presents itself and how the ideology manifests. Now he thinks genocide is acceptable, but it's the same core driving it. Like, Azami was hanging out with Kunishige, a random guy who's making swords. Shiba, who is tied to the Soga clan, is perceived as kind of like a gangster. Chiaki, who was considered from a nothing branch, who like broke the rules. Like, all of these guys that you see hanging out are rule breakers, people who buck tradition in some way. Kunishige could have been out there just slinging swords left and right, but he was specific and curated who his customer list could be. Like, so Azami, being a guy from a doctor family who decided to go whoop niggas' asses because his homie died, it makes sense. That rebellious streak continued until he was an adult. He stayed that way. He always was trying to find new ways to explore. That's who he is. That is part of his core. So we're getting the core of who these people are, and then we're seeing how that manifested. Shiba wanted to like elevate his friends, keep them on the best level, let them grow, and that's the reason why he still lets Chihiro fight. He's going to be a bit paternal in the sense that he's going to want to keep him safe. He's going to want to be in the area, but he's also still going to let him be the person he is, because Shiba still values freedom and people being able to make their own choices and have their own paths. And that's how you write like, you don't want to read a flashback and be like, this is a completely different character. You want to be able to look at a flashback, see the through lines, and be like, this is who that person is then and now, but this is what it means to be that person for them then versus now. That shit is good writing. That's what like good writing is. And that's how like themes and such is, as much as people love to like, you know, meme on things like to be malicious, it's true. But like a good author's themes and such are the core of their writing. Like the best stories the stories that are going to be worth dissecting, that's going to be how they're written. A story that isn't written that way, like a story that is just about fun, about aura farming. Like, think about it, right? SpongeBob is iconic. It's got all these memes, but there are no like there's no themes in such conversation we can have about SpongeBob outside of like, damn, Mr. Krabs is an exploitative person, and that's, you know, if the Krusty Krab were in the real world, nobody would want to eat there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I should make it clear, I do enjoy the meme, but I always feel like if we take the piss out of memes, but don't also make it a point to explain, like, okay, but this is why it's only good as a joke, that eventually only the joke lives and like it stops being ironic. People actually just become that dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So, and that's the thing that I do a lot is like, I'm like, wait, this is funny, but like, let's make sure we all know, like, let's make sure we're laughing at the same thing, right? Like, let's make sure we're all like laughing together, and I'm not like laughing at you or you're not laughing at me. Like, we're laughing together. You know what I'm saying? Which I need that. I don't even know if that's intentional or not. But yeah. Okay, so I'm 33 and I'm still doing that door-to-door sales job, and I am definitively the oldest person in my office, and there are some conversations and some interactions that they're like having and shit, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not 20. This is a 20-year-old conversation. I'm gonna just mind my business, bro." And like the other thing I've realized too is like when I'm not a guy who says females. Like I think you guys, anybody who's watched me for a long time notices I always say women. I never say females. I say like girls or women. But I'm realizing how annoying it is to hear people say females instead of women a lot. Like, because I don't talk to people who do that a lot, and I don't like watch content where that happens a lot. But yeah, real jarring, real weird. I don't really like that shit. Um, and I think it's just because I can tell like how people talk is like such an othering way to talk about people. Like, oh, but so now what I'm trying to do is like I've accepted the fact that as far as the office is concerned, I'm unk for real. Like somebody was like, "Nah, you unk for real." Like somebody was like, oh yeah, he like he's 18. I'm not even that much older. I feel like I feel like that's nephew. He's like that's unk, and I was like, no, nigga, I'm unk. And like the 25 was like, nah, he's unk for real. Like, um, he's like, oh yeah, like he's unk for real. He's over here in his 30s. I'm like, I'm an old man, dog, yo. Um, So I was talking to this one dude, and I was like, "Nah, I noticed you affirm yourself a lot." Or I told him like, you got undercut a lot when you were younger." And he was like, "Yeah, like I feel like nobody really told me like I'm proud of you or like gave me props, so I got to give myself those props." I said, "I see that because I hear the affirmations you give yourself." And then I was talking to him because he was like, I got my car." He's like, "Eventually, I want to get like a Cane Corso." See, I would tell myself that, but I'm realizing like, nah, bro. Like once you are 10 years older than somebody, you can put people on game a lot about like not necessarily like you're not going to have every answer professionally, but the trick is you have to be willing to you're only valuable if you're learning from your mistakes and then helping somebody not repeat them, right? And so the advice I gave the 20-year-old the other day was like, hey, I can hear you talking about like having that cane corso so you have something that loves you, da da da. I can tell you seem to have like a really like isolated feeling. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm like isolated, it's cool, but da da da. And I'm like, tell you what, this what you need to do, because I'm like, you work a lot, but like if this goes left and you've been working a lot, it's gonna feel like absolute shit for sure. So I basically told him like, you love your car, you got a nice car, you're good at with handling the wheels. You need to start going to the racetracks in the area. You need to start hitting up these tracks and having conversations with people about the cars, about these other things, and build yourself relationships, like a hobby and a relationship around that hobby, so that you have something that you can like do that like really relieves stress, lets you be centered and a way to relax and like have fun. And then I was like, and on top of that, like at the end of the day, we live in a world where you never know when you can go big. and you can handle your car well. So go ahead and get yourself like a little dash cam or something like that. Record that, and you have something you can upload. Maybe if you want to make content, something like that, just do that, and you'll be in a good spot because you'll have a hobby, you'll have a passion, you'll have something that you're doing that's besides work. It's important to have things besides work. You don't want to work to live. You don't want to live to work. You want to work to live. So, and it's okay to be young. It's okay to be young. Don't get me wrong. I don't look down on people for being young. I just realize that if I'm 33 years old and I have nothing to offer you when you're 21, that means I failed, right? That means I have done nothing with my life or learned nothing from my life. I should have experienced and learned things that you have not as a 21-year-old, that when we have a conversation about it, you can get value out of that. Otherwise, what have I been doing? Like, what have I been doing if I'm 12 years older than you and I have nothing to give you? Like, when I die, my daughter should inherit something. See, and this is stuff that you guys don't have to think about, right? Like, you guys don't have to think about this shit. Like, but I'm 33 now, and like, I need to think about this stuff. If I'm not thinking about this shit, I'm failing as an adult. Oh yeah, like, and that's the thing too, right? Anytime you have to deal with somebody who's like 10 years younger than you, it's gonna like hit you a certain way. You're gonna be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. And I love that for you guys, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, any job you guys get, pick a day and never work that day unless you're working for only you. So what I mean by that is, it's like, I stream on Sundays. I have not worked a day, like a Sunday, in years. I have not worked on Sunday. Like, I don't consider my stream like, yeah, I like, for a while when I was doing like church, I was getting paid on Sunday, and but like, I don't consider that like work in the same way, because that was like me being passionate. That was like a very passion project driven thing. But like, as far as like employment, like for an employee work, and like, I'm gonna go to this conference next Sunday because I don't feel like listening to people whine, and I'm still gonna try to make sure to get a stream in. But as is a general rule, I don't work Sundays, and I have not since I was like 21, maybe 22, because I was still working at the nursing home. But yeah, I have not worked a Sunday in 10 years. Sunday is the day for me. Sunday is the day for my family. Sunday is the day that I do not work. So, depending on what field you're in, that nights thing is going to be harder. That's why it's better to like shoot for a day, especially if you go for Sunday, because you can kind of, it has a religious belief connotation to it. Even if you're not religious, the connotation of Sunday gives off the vibe of religious belief, and people are more willing to not only accommodate it, but accommodate it without asking questions. No, and I get what you mean, Joseph. Like, obviously, I have my kid, so I get to like look at my kid. But I know that I think you're closer to 40 now, aren't you? And like, what have I done is something you're gonna have to think about. Like, what have I worked for? Like, man, I'm gonna tell you, like, you get, and like, your 20s are a lot of like working and fun. But the trick is to make sure that the fun, like, also the kind of fun you have in your 20s, bro. Okay, so like, bar fun is cool, but I'm gonna tell you right now, bar drinking fun, 80% of that shit you don't remember. 80% of that shit is not memories that last. Like, bar drinking, party fun, a lot of that shit you will not retain. It just won't mean anything. It'll be empty. So like, you're unironically, like, to me, you are unironically better off spending more time playing video games at home with your friends in Discord than you are going out drinking to the bar. Because a lot of that stuff, like, because you're drinking, because you're doing this stuff, you physically won't be able to retain a lot of it. It's crazy. I know. 40, turning 41 in September, but I also expected to get my BFA in creative writing in September. Okay, okay. See, I expect you to be able to get it. You like, and then I'm looking forward to your project. If you got anything you're working on, and you want somebody to read it, I love when people send me stuff to read. I actually need to read something from Ian that he sent me a while ago. I think my kid might have pooped. I'm not gonna lie. I think my kid pooped. That's the best way to drink. The best way to drink is like at your friend's house, like with your friends playing fucking Settlers of Catan or some shit like that. Yeah, like okay, I'm gonna tell you this. The whole point of the club is like the club is only cool if you actually want to dance, which most people don't do anymore. They don't go to the club to dance because there's people with their phones out all the time. So already you probably don't want to go to the club. Or to be like kind of like just like show off aesthetically and try to like, but the club is like all about like one-upsmanship. It's like the ultimate peacocking ground. And so, but because it's a bunch of people peacocking, it's very like fake. It's very much, there's an old Chris Rock joke that talks about it, but it's like, it's very much like when you go to the club, you meet people's representatives, you don't meet them. Yeah, like saying Settlers of Catan and drinking is crazy. Like, and if you go to the bar, I don't want to go to 4 bars in one night. I want to go to like 1 bar or 2 bars at max. Like, you don't actually want to have to go to like 6 bars. That shit sucks. And yeah, actually don't try to play drunk Settlers of Catan because Settlers of Catan, like, I think Settlers of Catan is more frustrating than Monopoly because in Monopoly, you know somebody's eventually going to get more land than you and you're going to end up landing. Like, I lost a game of Monopoly like 5-6 years ago strictly because I landed on the same spot 3 to 4 board rolls, like walks in a row, and ended up having to pay $900 on each go around. Settlers of Catan is like, you want me to give you 6 sheep for 1 piece of ore? You fucking bitch. My villagers need this to survive. It's like, what are you doing? Like the connected, like, because it's more directly connected to the resources, it's like, bro, fuck you. Like it's like how they were like, yeah, so like actually speaking, see, so here's how we're gonna tie Catan into right now. They're playing Settlers of Catan, right? You know, you got fucking Japan versus the Shikoku, and they're like, yo, dog. So what if you give me 4 of your villages on the board, which is over half the board. You give me your ore, all of it, and then you get nothing. And it's like, well, no, that does not work. So the only upside to this, like as far as like this goes, as far as with the Shikoku, is it just lets you know that the plan was always to incite war. It was never to actually have a peace talk. This was like out the gate. We know you're gonna fight us. We know you're gonna be wanting to, like, you can't make a deal like this. It's like the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals. Like, what are we doing here? And even the guy that like they sent obviously was like a suicide bomber. So from the start, but this also lets you know that their political system is similar to the modern day political system because the only reason you send a guy like this with those demands is so he gets killed. And once he gets killed, you get to say, see, the Soga are the same as they were 1,000 years ago. They have not changed. This is why we need to kill them. Like, this was strictly an antagonistic encounter designed to lead to combat. It was never supposed to be peaceful. So yeah, when Shiaki was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be hostile," you're damn right. Because this was strictly a, how do I show up and tell these niggas let's fight? Hey, you see the vision. You see the vision, Blob. Oh man. Yeah. Like that was always the plan, Joseph. They were like, we're sending someone we don't expect to get back. He went knowing that. And I think the fact that we don't see like all those lines and stuff on somebody else's eyes, or I don't think the old man has a bunch of those lines like that. We can't see the eyes or faces of the people that they were fighting, so we don't know for sure. But I feel like the lines should have been like a little further down. Let's see. Let's see if I can zoom in and see anything that gives away. Yeah, nah, we don't have anything indicating that they have the same thing. That leads me to believe that those lines were possibly a byproduct of the sorcery itself that was implanted and likely amplified with Datsaki. So yeah, they wanted to. This is basically just them doing their first shot. The people who landed here outside of the old man realistically did not expect to come back. They were like, this is basically let's test their strength and see how good of fighters they are. So the real messenger isn't the guy who sat on the couch. The real messenger is the guy who's watching it all unfold. The old man sitting in the like back. So next chapter, I'm expecting this tree explosion to lead to multiple deaths, or at the very least, like hat shot. Like, I'm sorry, I'm fully invested and on board with the Hatshaku final boss hype train. At minimum, if you do not have Hatshaku stocks, you are not spending your money wisely. This character, Hatshaku, go ahead, get some stocks now, invest in this market. He's only going to go up in value. This character is the character to invest stocks in right now. I'm not saying you got to sell Euro stocks, but I'm saying if you got to take a loan against your house to do it, get Hatshaku stocks. That's what I'm saying. You got to borrow against something. Maybe sell some of your Funko Pop collection if you got to, but get you some Hatshaku stocks because this guy is going to be worth it. That like purely investment. I'm telling you, a couple quarters, we're getting high dividend yields. It's gonna be nasty. Like you're gonna feel silly if you're not invested in Hatshaku. That's all I'm saying. Like I would like if next chapter he shows up and we find out this man is basically because the other thing is right is that when you have a tree sorcery, trees are very long lived. Like think about the redwood forest in California, right? Long lived. Now I'm curious because you don't need to sell your Akamura stocks. Now, if your stocks are specifically on Akamura being the final villain, I would say you can keep them, but like don't buy any more. Now, as a combatant, Akamura stocks are still going to be good. They may depreciate slightly in value, but still not enough to hurt your portfolio. Not enough to really hurt your portfolio. They're still going to pay good dividends. He's still going to be a good character. But Hatshaku stocks, like let's be real here right now. Hatshaku, I would say he's going for about like $10 a share right now. Within a year, I can see him shooting up to 50. This guy is going to be valuable. He might even shoot up to 50 next week. Akamura, that's like a $35 a share character. Most you're losing on him is $3 a share at most. Because no matter what happens, he's still the guy that popped off in the war. He's still the wielder of the Shunichi. And even if he were to die tomorrow, he's the guy that folded and took out Samura, who, in my opinion, was at least a $25, $30 stock character. Just saying. Like, this market is wicked, but there's no way Hatshaku's on fraud watch. There's just no way. He's not a fraud. Yeah, if you bought Mashiro stocks, you messed up. Sorry, you messed up. Now, like if you bought Mashiro death stocks, you're good. If you bought Mashiro gonna be, top 5 in the verse stocks, you may be entitled to compensation in a class action lawsuit against the firm that advised that. But in the meantime, until that case is resolved, yeah, you're gonna be hurting for a while. Like, you might be entitled to compensation the way people who got mesothelioma are entitled to compensation. Okay. Like my Shiro stocks, that was a crazy purchase. Yeah, you missed all the warning signs. Anytime you see somebody who's a very nice friend and it's a flashback arc, buddy, if you haven't seen that guy doing heinous evil shit, he's dead. You can't buy stocks on that guy. You're just begging to lose money. He's dead. He's fucking dead. At Chaku though, invest. Cause I'm gonna be real, trees live a long ass time. Look, I believe that Hiyuki stocks. I believe in Hiyuki, okay? I believe in Hiyuki because the main reason I believe in the Hiyuki stocks, here's what I'm gonna say you should do with Hiyuki. You're gonna buy low and you're gonna sell high. So right now, because Hiyuki's been missing from the story, her stocks have taken a dip. You're still gonna purchase Hiyuki stocks. And the reason for that is because Hiyuki is the wielder of Flamebone. Eventually, we have to get an explanation on the secondary weapon system and like these other enchanted kind of tools. So Hiyuki is going to have major relevancy. But once we get like a page that's like the Flamebone, a cursed tool made from blah, 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 blah. It allows the user to cloak themselves in fire in exchange for XYZ. Will replicate their physical form while taking place of their limbs if they have access up to the spinal column. That's the chapter you sell your Hiyuki stocks because she's probably about to go in the dirt, or you wait like 2 more chapters and sell. That's it. That's how you're gonna run the market on that one. Okay, you're still buying Hiyuki stocks. You're just not, but you're buying them. You're shorting them. You're gonna get them like you're gonna trust that they're going to go down a little more, get that purchase while that price is low, and then you sell the next time she's on screen, basically. That's how you're running that shit, man. You cannot make Hiyuki your long-term investment. Obviously, Chihiro's the main character. His stocks are good. Hakuri stocks, fantastic. They're going to just keep going up. They're going to be slow growing, but they're going to be stable stocks. Might not see dividends on Chihiro for a while, but that's okay. That's not what you're investing in Chihiro for. You're investing in Chihiro stocks for the whole story. Just up and up and up. Now, that said, somebody who I would say in the market that I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, definitely should buy right now, Iori stocks. Regardless, that character is going to be popping back into the story, and when she does, it's going to be important. It's going to be impactful. She's realistically one of the next wield of the Tobimune. We're good. Hirohuko. This may be controversial. I'd recommend getting stocks on them too. Yeah. I'm an Iori stocks guy. Invest. Iori stocks, man. Unless I'm mispronouncing her name or misremembering it, but Samura's daughter is what I'm saying. Yeah, I get some stocks on her. I would not invest in Uruha stocks. And if I'm honest, okay, this might be controversial. I do not recommend investing in Natsuki stocks. Natsuki is one of those cool characters, but I feel like he's partially a joke character. Yeah, you got to ride the slump for Hirohiko or Hirohiko. You got to ride the slump here, man. Ride the slump. It's going to be okay. It's going to feel bad, but I think there's a payoff for him. I think there's a payoff for having stocks on that character. I also think that Tubimura stocks aren't bad. I don't think you're going to expect a massive payoff, but, you know, it's an okay investment. If you're wondering who I'm calling Tubimura, it's the guy that was hanging out with Hiyuki who kept creating that separate space. Tubimura is a character from Shaolin Showdown, though. See, I could see Natsuki getting Kuragumo, and it would make sense. I just think that the way that the character is written, he feels like the first gag character. And the reason why I say he feels like a gag character is because the man missed part of the raid because he was listening to music working out. Like, actually think about that. Like, he is an important swordsman, but he wasn't so important that while Azami was going up to the grounds, they didn't immediately grab him. They had to be like, hey, yo, The raid's kind of going sideways. You might want to come out the door now. So I feel like there's a bit of gag writing around Natsuki that makes his stocks real shaky to me. Real shaky. You don't have to agree with me, but you don't have to agree with me. It's just when a character is jamming out and misses out on like part of like a big arc, I got questions about whether or not they're gonna get to really properly shine or not. Keep in mind, at one point during that fight, also this is the other thing that makes me shaky on his stocks, is that he was like, "Hey, what the hell? You said sorcery was allowed, but none of you are using it." So he was the only one using sorcery, and he didn't just like get a guaranteed kill in, like a lethal blow anywhere. So that's the other thing. So as a combatant, he's competent, but he feels like not quite on jobber tier. Like he doesn't feel like he's a jobber, because even if you're a jobber, you can still be a top tier. Like look at Mahoraga. Mahoraga is designed to be a jobber in JJK. He is like objectively a jobber, but he is also like the gatekeeper of top tier. Like you can't be a top tier if you can't beat Mahoraga. Like you're just not that guy if you can't beat him. So that's where like Natsuki feels like he feels to me like the gatekeeper. And gatekeeper characters, like they're solid, you can invest in them. You're just never gonna get the payoff that you would get for anybody who ends up over that gatekeeper. Even some of the characters who are under the gatekeeper, you will get better payoff for. Yeah, Jogo is an S tier jobber. Like one of the strongest characters that you get, like possibly the second strongest curse that you get introduced to in the series. Arguably number one. I think that like because like you could argue that Jogo's stronger than Mahito, but Mahito has better hacks. Because we saw Jogo use domain plus maximum technique, and obviously all curses can heal themselves. But Jogo also had the unfortunate side effect of only going against Gojo and Sukuna. So Jack the Drought. I was like, look, Jack is powerful. He's just stuck in a bad situation as far as who he's going against. Look, Big Raga, I got a lot of respect for. That's why I say like people use jobber like it's a dirty word and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. Jobber isn't a dirty word, it's a role. Now, how an author writes the jobber is what determines whether or not like you like and that's the thing is that like depending on how the whether or not you think a jobber sucks or not is always about how well the writing is. Like let's take job because jobber is a wrestling term, we're gonna pivot slightly to wrestling. The Big Show ended up kind of jobbing for a lot of guys, like the giant Big Show, whatever you want to call him. But he was pretty consistently considered a big threat. Like if Big Show ran in the ring and decided I'm gonna start fighting people, you never questioned him slumping somebody, and you never questioned if he like just walked up and just like punched the shit out of a world heavyweight champion. That wasn't you weren't like the Big Show can't do that, but he did job for people. So like sometimes it's about how you write the jobber. Mahoraga is one of the best written jobbers we've gotten in manga in probably like 5 to 10 years. And sometimes jobbing, like, so, as far as Straw Hats go, Sanji. Unfortunately for Sanji ends up jobbing sometimes. He kind of got stuck jobbing in Dressrosa so that he can make Dofi look better. Unfortunate, but he kind of had to. So like sometimes Sanji gets forced to like take a little bit of damage or get beaten by a bad guy. And hell, like look at Skypiea. You could argue like everybody just got beat so that you could get the credibility built onto Enel just so he could turn around and lose anyway. And he still technically managed to defeat Luffy twice. So yeah, like sometimes you're gonna job here and there, but it's okay. Trying to think. The Nomu almost solely exists to job, and My Hero. Shoot, you could argue that even all the disaster curses really were jobbers. Like they got shit done, but they all existed so that you could understand what it meant to be special grade as a sorcerer. Like let's unpack Dagon. Like I wish we got more out of Dagon, like more characterization, more interaction, but he was a cursed womb for a large chunk of his time in the story. Dagon showed up, put three people in the domain, didn't even bother using his sure hit on Maki, was just dropping fish on Nobito and Nanami while smacking Maki through trees on his beach. And then fucking Toji shows up and is like, so anyway, I'm gonna beat you. Let me beat that ass real quick. Jobbed. Was built up just to show you the levels. Hanami was literally made to be like, oh, that's a top tier threat. That's an elite spirit. But it's almost like a nature spirit. Which, by the way, I wish we would have covered more different spirit types in JJK. Like if we had gotten like to meet some nature spirits, some other types of spirits, because obviously Gojo has met them at some point because he says, oh, this guy feels more like a nature spirit or like a regular spirit than a cursed spirit. Just saying, it would have been kind of nice to spend some time with like the good spirits too. But that aside, made to be a punching bag for fucking Yuji and Toto so that we could see them like be best friends, and we needed something durable enough to eat four black flashes and then narrowly escape Gojo because he was going to wipe it off the face of the earth, which he eventually does anyway. Like Star, so I think people like to call Star a jobber, but I don't think Star counts as a jobber. And the reason why I don't think Star counts as a jobber is because like you can say she jobbed. I guess she is kind of a jobber, but I'm kind of split on her because I kind of feel like to be like a real proper jobber, you need to be around in the story more. It feels more like Star is just somebody who didn't win than she's a jobber. And the reason why I feel that way is also because a lot of times when you job, you don't have like a lasting nerf or like you don't change. So if Star hadn't given Shigaraki the New Order virus, Shigaraki doesn't actually get pushed to that final stage of evolution that he hits in the cave. Because what she did was effectively turn New Order into an immunovirus that caused his body to fight itself, and his body had to adapt to the fact that his own body was attacking itself, which meant that it needs to be able to deal with basically anything, and that's what gave him that ultimate adaptability feature in his final form. And so, because of that, because Star ultimately ends up buffing him in a way, even though she takes away some of his quirks, she like removes some of his quirks, but buffs his base kit, like base body. It feels weird to call Star a jobber, especially because then she does leave like that extra scar, that vulnerability for Deku later down. So it's like it's more nuanced than that. No, Sasuke does job sometimes. Sasuke job to Haku. Sasuke and like Sasuke job to Madara too. Like they had to lose to make sure we understood how powerful Madara is. Um, Technically, the whole school, all of Team Seven was jobbing during the Forest arc too. Like jobbing is just losing to establish credibility, and Sasuke lost to establish credibility multiple times in the story. In fact, the Deuteragonist is often a jobber. Like Vegeta is a jobber. I don't know if you really want to consider him the Deuteragonist, but yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, Guy is kind of a jobber too. Yeah, you're right. My Guy also jobs quite a bit. Yeah, see, you know you've been jobbing when I was gonna bring up the Sasuke Killer Bee job, but then I was like, I don't have to. And look at that, came up a chat. So yeah, sometimes you got a job. Jobbing isn't a bad thing. It's only a bad thing when, like I said, it's only a bad thing when a character is built to be strong and the jobber never gets to shine. Because then it's like, how the fuck, like you're like the suspension of what matters for a jobber is maintaining suspension of disbelief. So as long as the jobber character loses in a way that doesn't hurt the story, it will always be fine. Like technically, in his final battle, you could like some people would argue that Gojo jobbed to Sukuna, and I don't agree. Like that's in the similar campus star where there was an actual trade off made to the character, so they had to give up something good for something powerful. Like the same idea was there, right? Does what he has to do, and then yeah, I genuinely think my daughter might have pooped herself. I'm gonna have to go change her. uh, but yeah, like Killer B almost killed Sasuke like 3 times. That's like a triple job. Like it disgusting. I have not watched enough Star Trek to tell you, but I do believe that Worf is actually one of the original jobbers because the TV trope is named the Worf effect. Is one of the terms for in the jobber family. So like if you go on tvtropes.com and you like look at some of the established tropes, Worf effect is one of them. Shadow Beast. Hold on. Yeah, I'll say that the Ante Kurugumo squad and Bachi, like, they kind of got jobbed in a way that I didn't like. The upside is that, and I forgot his name again, the commander of that squad actually did have a decent story arc come out of that. But yeah, they kind of got folded in a way that I'm not sure I like about that. Let me real quick look at the Shadow Beast and HXH just because I'm not remembering them. Uh, let's see. Oh yeah, the dudes who showed up and the guys who fought Uvogan. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. The guys who fought cuz like especially because one of them died just by getting yelled at. Like that was tough. That was a little tough. Killing a dude just by yelling at him is crazy. Like they definitely and yeah, like that's not like they were like when the character solely exists a job, it's a little frustrating. And I think that's where good or bad jobbers come from. Like you kind of have to have a character that exists outside of that. That said, having him do all that, like the best jobbers are characters in of themselves that happen to job. When a character's entire identity is jobbing, that's when it sucks. I think that's what most of us would agree with. Like, yeah, we want to know how strong these characters are, but we don't want to find out these characters are strong because you added somebody. Like, okay, it's like in wrestling terms, because jobbing is, a wrestling term. You don't want to bring on like somebody onto the roster solely to lose with no credibility anyway because you're too busy protecting all other stars. Sometimes people have to lose to build credibility, and if you only put them against people who have no credibility, it's not like you can't solely be a jobber. Like that's not really that great. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And like so for example, and I'd also say like Samura doesn't count as a jobber. Like he jobbed to Akimura in the sense that like we had to get that true establishment that like no, even among like even if you put a veteran sword master against him, he is still like light years ahead. Like that had to be established. That couldn't just be all talk. You have to show. You can't just tell. Like Samura lost to him, but even how Samura lost to him, it was like you were seeing the refinedness of his swordsmanship. He was doing stuff like keeping Chihiro alive. You can't really say he's a jobber. Like so yeah, like Akamura is just that guy. Like somebody has to lose to build credibility, and the best person to lose to build credibility for Akamura was Samura. Anybody else, and it doesn't give you the credibility you need. See, I think it depends on how that character is written, right? Like if you make a character super arrogant and then they job all the time, if they lose in funny ways, it can work. If the character has an actual narrative and they just happen to lose and they're not strong enough to do what they need done, but they're willing to get help, willing to ask for it, it works. Like the reason why Vegeta fans get frustrated though is because you never want to see Vegeta fight a main villain because you pretty much know he's going to lose. And a lot of the times his fights aren't written in a way that make it interesting for him to lose either. So Vegeta's jobbing is often done poorly. It's been done better in like the back half of Super. Like Super has done a way better job with Vegeta than like Z was doing. But you can look at like Vegeta being forced to job as kind of like his karma. Like having Vegeta get whooped on by 18 low diff, having Vegeta just get dog walked by Perfect Cell and be useless against him even after an extra round in the hyperbolic time chamber, having Vegeta get like kind of do something to Majin Buu but sacrifice his life and have nothing come out of it, like that was kind of egregious. And then even having him just get like super folded by Kid Buu and it almost cost the universe existence because he just couldn't hang even a little bit. Yeah. And so that's why, but yeah, like when jobbing is done to strictly and like you never get to see their potential or them actually like pop off of somebody strong, it sucks. And that's actually okay. So I've been reading Kyoshi Exorcist partially because I thought it was going to end already, but it didn't. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep reading it. And like this Hell arc has been interesting. There's a character in that story that just clearly isn't on the level of the main character. And so one of the things that the author has done to protect that character is not having him job because he's still supposed to be like a high level, like exorcist. He's just not on the level of the main character. So will he eventually have to fight somebody that the main character is going to beat again? Yes. Will he eventually have to job again? Yes. But he recently got a fight where he fried somebody's entire like power system circuit like in their body, like a high level demon lord character. So it lets you know he is high level. We've built some credibility. We let him actually win a fight. So even if you see him in the future, you won't think of him as just a jobber. It's important that like you don't make that the character's the entire identity. And like when the character starts to drown in jobbing, that's when it becomes a problem. Which I don't think we'll ever have this issue in Bachi, just because of the way like the power system and the fights go. Like yeah, I just don't think that's how it works. Like obviously you could argue that the entire Itoshima Talk Squad is effectively jobbers. Like we've given them some random nobodies that they get to kill, and then Shaku's probably going to show up and like whoop on a bunch of their asses and call it a day. But Shiba's going to live, so Shiba isn't a jobber. He's just a guy who lost this battle, and we know that Shiba is still like Shiba gets glazed like part one Kakashi gets glazed. Like anybody who's read or watched Naruto, especially like the first part, knows what I mean by that. Shiba gets glazed like part one Kakashi gets glazed. So he's good. The rest of these guys are kind of going to job, but at least they got to kill some of these faceless nobodies first. And we've already known Dr. Saki. The other thing that helps jobbers, I'll say, because like these two Soga Clan guys and Mashiro are unfortunately are about to job. Uh, is that we know how powerful Datsusaki is, and we know that these guys have it. So it doesn't even hurt their credibility because these guys have a fucking booster tool. They've got like a rocket booster that we know a bunch of people die just from touching. So losing to these guys just doesn't hurt their credibility. It's just like so. I'll say this: Hokazano does a really great job of making sure that if somebody has to lose to build credibility, it is very fair. Like it is extremely fair. Like I've yet to see somebody lose in this story and be like, "Bro, he's just losing so that did it." Like, nah, I've never felt that way. Like it never felt like, "Oh, this guy probably could have just won, but we have to have them lose so that this person is a big bat." Like, nah, I've yet to get that vibe. So yeah, these guys are going to lose to help build credibility, but the credibility of their opponents is already there with them having Saki. But we do need an illustration of the gap that existed without the enchanted blades, and them going high diff isn't enough of a gap. Like we got, like people have to lose on screen to build up why the enchanted blades were felt to be necessary. And so that's what we're getting into now. It's like we're establishing why Japan so strongly felt like they needed to have these. Also, uh, yeah, okay. Now I want to see some bonsai tree age. Okay, so this is the other thing I wanted to check because I actually meant to look into this. All right, so I can actually show you guys a bit of this. All right, let me move this real quick. So I wanted to look into some bonsai trees because I guess there's a 1,000-year-old bonsai, but I also wanted to see, like, make sure that these trees are supposed to be. So the fact that we have 1,000-year-old bonsais means that not only could Hatshaku be, uh, you know, the guy who's showing up here, and then let me real quick add my borderline watermark, uh, but he could also actually be like a super old Mikaboshi. Like, it's entirely possible that, because this looks like it's intended to be a bonsai tree. Like, we look here, we zoom in here, huh? Yeah, we're looking like look at the way these leaves are drawn, because I can show that, and then look, like, that is a bonsai tree. These are bonsai trees. So if that's the case, the five oldest bonsai trees, thickest bonsai tree at Crespi, Italy, over 1,000 years old, tested and proven to be a juniper bonsai. So yeah, we got 1,000-year bonsai, 800-year bonsai trees. So yeah, he could actually, Hatshaku could have been around since the first fucking war, which makes him, yeah, like you said, a Kenjaku type character, somebody who's just been in the shits for a while. Which makes me just more excited for him, honestly, because I'm actually a big fan of that trope, the character that's just been around for a long ass time making moves. So yeah, like I said, Hat Shaku stocks. If you put a damn lien on your house for those stocks, if you need to, but I'm that guy. I'm telling you, he's the guy. He's the guy. Nobody has the credibility that this guy has right now. He's gonna have been around for a while, and it makes sense, right? Like, he's been moving stuff, and like, we had to have this bonsai tree here for a reason. It looks like another tree is sprouting. Like, yeah, bro. Hatshaku might just be Hatjaku. And it even makes sense, right? Because think about it. Like, Kenjaku aligned himself with the disaster curses to make shit shake, really, because he just wanted to capture them, and he used them. Water star. Bro, he was hoping to get all of them, right? All right, hold on. So obviously Ghetto and like his original design was very Pokemon reminiscent, but I just think it's hilarious that he had a leaf starter, a fire starter, a water starter, and the only starter he got was the soul starter or the Pikachu and Mahito. The rest of them just lost. Ooh, wait. You guys dropped another fan animation? Post the link in the chat right now. Post the link in the chat and I'll watch it on stream right now. I will watch that shit on stream right now. That'll be like the last thing we do. Isobachi? I had not seen that. All right, here you go. I'm gonna pull it up. Pulling it up. Oh shit, LCS is live too. Oh shit. Isobachi. Ooh, the one for 3 weeks ago. The Jujutsu Kaisen cross. Are we talking about this JJK cross Kagurabachi one? I'm not gonna share the audio just in case, but here, let me. All right, bet we watching. Hey, oh, hold up. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm rocking with this. I'm rocking with this. I'm not. Hey. Nah, bro, this is okay. Yeah, this is gas. Nah, this is actually sick. I'm loving this. Not the not the armored cheeks. Oh man. All right, yeah, yeah. This is sick. That was sick. I'm with that. I'm with that. We're not watching Valorant stuff. I don't watch Valorant like that. Man, I'm watching this again real quick. Let me get a second to watch. And the owl for the opening shot, bro. Like this shit is sick. And I like the inversion. Like the Hiyuki flame with the Maki. The extra like just because what I like about this too is that it's doing a really good job of like weaving in like what would be considered like spoilers, but it's not too crazy. Like you see Samura being alarmed like this and and then of course you got like a little bit of that. Okay, also great way to depict. See, now we're going borderline frame by frame. Fuck it, bro. But like, let me see. Can I slow this down? I'm pretty sure I can slow this down. Let me slow down the playback speed a little bit. All right. So this part, love it. Like including the extra, like conveying her fighting style with the sword flip as she's sliding it behind her back. Because I actually really do want to see her fight. I've been really looking forward to seeing her specifically get her fights animated. And then giving Natsuki some time. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Extra look, like I said, Hiyuki with the flame bone on the outside. Like I said, Hiyuki stocks gonna be worth investing in. Just make sure you sell them hoes as soon as we finally get the full explanation on flame bone. Uh, like, and especially if we get the like a 26 episode season, and we're finishing it around season, like chapter 60, like we talked about, I believe was having the owl be such an important theme for, like for the first season opening is great. Great idea. Also, just a huge fan of this. Oh yeah, and including Mr. I want to like be like Chihiro Scar guy in this is actually such a nice touch. Like, hold on, let me slow down again. Such a nice touch. Hold on, just because it's. Let's see, because like the amount of work that your friend put into this too is like so good. Like the little show, the Kyora stuff, the like man, Oruha, Natsuki, Yuki, yep. Let's see. Ooh, deadlock. Okay, hold up. He actually slipped the dying mom in there too for the extra razzle dazzle. Hold up. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. So timeout. So the father son, Ieri, and the see, bro. This was made with so much love, bro. This was made with so much love. Yeah, the ice lady is who I wanted to talk about. But like, dude, this okay, your friend genuinely loves the shit out of like, hold on. Let me get my image off here real quick. Like the amount of love actually put into this project is so insane, especially because we don't even have an anime yet. So like the fact that they did all this, took the time for this, like shoot, genuine appreciation. Headphones off to you. Like honestly, I'm so happy that like a project like this exists. I love like fan animations that are like just about like we're getting to the brass tacks. We're just gonna love on the series a bit. Like, man, even like having the time to emphasize the Ninja Squad, like this shot here is like so good because it's like it makes you think of play, but it reminds you that the final boss. So it's like you get this shot and you think about play and how he like moves all this stuff, and then it's actually play. Like so, it's like play, but then it's like no, Samura's the real big boss. You're like play was a big deal, but no, Samura is the guy. And like and really, at first you could think of it as like him destroying, but then you remember he puts the building back together again. So it's like him making sure that things are okay. This shot is so fucking insane. I love it because it's like the scale of like because really like when this fight happens, they like obviously yes they're children, but the scale like of like the level Samura is fighting on and operating with familiarity with his enchanted blade versus what they're doing and how little they actually know. Great extra fodder in the background. Love the details. Like, oh my goodness. So many people just put their whole fucking artist OCs in this. Actually insane. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yep, bro. Get the little butterfly, so we already know. See, I like that too, because that's like the emphasis on how fucking traumatic and the scale of this stuff. Because we just got Chihiro, looking up, being like, "Oh, like the organization of this is actually crazy." Whoever directed this, like, put these in the specific order they chose. Very, very good eye. Like, very good. Like, they really have a good idea for like how to organize, like their like make this coherent. Because like this is 50 different artists coming together, and then one person director. Like, actually beautiful. Like, oh my god. Bring back the community's daughter. We have it. Like, check up on her, bro. I don't care if it does. Give me a side chapter with her, bro. Like, oh, this so good. And like you guys said, Pinkberry giving her something, even though we don't have anything, but just like at least giving us this. Fuck this guy, by the way. And I actually do just. These two are such fucking weirdos. Like, I don't know, because like like I try to avoid spoilers so I don't get on like and talk in the community as much. And now I work fucking 6 days a week, and I'm working like fucking 10 a.m. to I'm like busy from 9 a.m. to fucking 10 p.m. every day, basically. But this right here, can we just talk about the fact that Hakuri and Iruha are fucking weirdos? Like, I don't mean this in a malicious way, but these two are fucking weirdos. Like, like you are Kurishige. I need a sample. Like these two, but like homies. Like they're like connected, bro. Like they're same person in different font. That's all I'm saying. Oh man, crazy good art. Oh man, hold up. So this one right here, connected at the heart. Yeah, love it. Getting to catch this is like Chihiro being like, "All right, yeah, I'm here, bro. I'm here." Oh man, ooh, like 10 out of 10 for a fan project, and then like the Sojo, bro. Yeah, put that respect on him. Also, I need to know that my boy Azami got his arms back because I'd be ashamed if he came box again, bro. See, this is what like fan projects are about, bro. Like people just coming together and really putting love on the series. All right, I know we were just talking about the Harigawa SWAT, but at least they got to Aura Farm in this picture because like this is the only time they will be getting to Aura Farm. And then like even this shot here, right? Like we don't get a lot of her after like chapter I want to say like 30 or so, but I really do want to like see more of her just cuz if she's related to Mashiro, I wouldn't be surprised even though I think that boy is in a pack. Yeah, Hyuki. Like I cannot wait until we learn more about the flame bone, man. That shit's gonna be sick. Of course. Okay, okay. Yeah, at some point I might have to go through here and like follow a bunch of these artists just to, is like such good work. Such good work. And like man. And the thing is, this isn't like a pro like this is a project just like showcasing so many like great characters in this story. That's actually one of, I'm not gonna lie, the Iori plus Chihiro moment is actually one of my favorites in the series as far as like combat goes. Oh, if only they had actually gotten to stay together, bro. Yes, give the daughter the cheeseburger. Uh, Such good stuff. Look, you give us 8 minutes of original content, and I think the community might explode. Okay, let me. Miso. Indefinite hiatus. That's terrifying. Let's see. All right, bet you're doing exams. I respect that, young blood. The Baron 101. Go ahead and pro ship. Oh, sweet. Ooh, pro ship DNI. My kind of person. All right, bet. But yeah, all right, man. I'm gonna end the stream on that note because I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied with this. I got to run to the laundromat. This is now officially the longest bocce stream we've had. Also, Blob, I don't know if you heard me in the beginning. Um, oh, arrive Medi, bet. But when this arc is over, I used to do like some really big streams, or I used to have like a lot of people on. If you'd like to hop on to talk the arc, I'd love to have you on. Oh hey, I didn't even realize. But so, oh yeah, shit's sick. Let me just go ahead and. Um, so if you'd like to be on, up and discuss, you are invited. So obviously we'll have to like coordinate it a little more officially later down the line, but I love having big discussions. I love having people who love the actual series and want to discuss these things on my channel. I like having group discussions. So yeah, we'll look at that more towards when the arc is actually ending. And we'll get that situated then. I appreciate everybody who came through in the chat. I shout out to everybody who worked on the Isobachi project, man. You guys put your whole souls into it, just killed it. That's the kind of stuff that like fandom is supposed to be about. Just unadulterated, unfiltered love for the product, art, all of it, whatever you want to call it. Like just insanely good shit. I'm genuinely like proud of all these people, even though I've never met them, and they probably don't give a shit. Also, do not use process through AI or use an AI training. Love the extra note. And AI was using the process, even better. Artists who appreciate art, love this. Great chapter. We're at a great stretch of the story. Okazano, just keep doing your thing, man. Anytime you need a break, salute, take that break. I want your vision as you see it, as you chase it, as you want it. Blob, Lucas, Cameron Bailey, Joseph Shola, DT Man. So many of you guys that have been here for a long time. Appreciate you all for coming through again. And remember, invest in Hatshaku stocks. Not buying Hatshaku stocks is the equivalent of saying, I don't love myself. And if you don't love yourself, buy some Hatshaku stocks anyway.